Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. Okay, let's start with today's session and let's continue where we left yesterday. So yesterday guys, we had some issues, correct? When we were trying to push a package to an artifact. So we had some issues like permission issue. Let's go and get that fixed. So this is a new change what Azure DevOps has made, that if you create an artifact, you need to provide at least a contributor access upfront. Though you are a owner, doesn't matter. You need to give a contributor access to the user if they want to push anything or if they want to access anything from the artifact. So that is the change. So let's go and let me show you that first. So this was the case, classic case, when we tried pushing things to the artifactory, the artifact which we have created over here. It was prompting us for access issue, correct? So what do you have to do? You have to come back to this artifact section, come to this feed settings, come to this permissions, and you need to add one permission, a specific permission which needs to be added. That is a contributor. Look for something called Valaxy, your project name. And do you see this thing is popping up right now? Valaxy DevSecOps_1 build services. If you want to build, this is the contributor. This is the least which you can give a contributor access. Now once you see that access given over here in the feed, go back to your pipeline. We already have a pipeline, correct? We created a specific pipeline. Where it is? This one? Not this one. Yeah, this one. We had a specific pipeline. So in this pipeline, what exactly it is doing? It is packing and pushing. Okay, this is what it is doing. Packing your NuGet packages and pushing it to your own private feed. Okay, let me run this and show you if things works this time. Let's wait. So basically what we are doing, we have created our own artifact. We had two additional steps added to a YAML file. The one step is packing your package. Okay, the second step is pushing the package to the private feed. Okay, from there I'll show you how do we consume the package, but for the initial stage, let's see how do we push the package. Okay, hopefully it's making sense, guys. The only minute change we did, added a contributor access to your build service to the artifact. That's it. That is the only thing we did, nothing else. This was not the case previously. Now I think there's some slight change from Azure DevOps side, because of which this permission needs to be done. Package failed to push. Okay, wait. I think while testing, I have deleted the package itself. Let me just get this deleted and create a new one. Or let me create a new feed itself. Let's name it as well dev hyphen 01. Okay, giving permission to organization, everything is okay. Let's create a new one. I'm creating a new feed, guys, and let's go and give permission contributor. This build service permission required. Done. This is a new feed I have created. Let's go and edit this once. This package thing is okay. The only thing I have to come and change is the push thing. Target feed. Let's select the new one which we just created. Allow duplicates to be skipped if you want. Save it. Why this one is running? Let's cancel this one. Let's run this one. Okay, we started to run. Let's wait. The package command is running right now. Let's see. The push is running. Perfect. Now this time, if you see, we don't have any issues. Successfully added the package to the feed. So this was all happening because of the permission, and it needed the contributor to be very specific. Access that's and post that. If you see, we got the feed pushed to our own repository. Now the package was pushed as an artifact into my feed. Now this is how it looks like when you go inside it. This is the version 1 which is currently selected. Okay, upstream version 1.0.0. Now this is, we got the feed. Now how do we consume? There is a step given over here to consume. I'll show you how exactly these steps work. Okay, but the first thing, how do you consume this feed? Now go back to the scenario and just think that your NuGet.org is down for some reason. Now this is your actual build pipeline, correct? Let's go to this build. Now if you go to this logs, if you see the NuGet restore, this is the NuGet restore command which we are running. Now if you come down, the NuGet restore is happening from this location, api.nuget.org. Now imagine this api.nuget.org has some issues. This particular site is down. So that means your build will not happen. No, correct. Now because we have our own private feed, can we do a restore in place of NuGet.org? Can we do it from our own location, own private feed location? Yes, definitely we can do that. Okay, let's edit this pipeline. Let me show you how do we consume the packages, our own packages. Okay, now this is the NuGet restore command. Let's remove this. I'll have the NuGet restore done again. I'll have the NuGet restore. The only difference is I'll be doing the NuGet restore from my own packages. This is my own package, well_dev. Now the only difference is I'll be doing the restore from my own packages. Okay, let's add this. Now do you see the restore difference? I'm doing the restore, but I'm doing the restore from my own package, the feed which we have created, the private feed. Okay, this push and all is not required now. So let me just comment this out. Okay, so we are doing a build. Now we are doing a build from our own private feed. So this is how we are trying to consume the package from our private feed. Let me cancel this. Okay, let's wait and see if we're able to consume the package or not. So one way of consuming, the other way of consuming, I'll show you. If you want to share the package with someone else, for example, there is a developer who is creating a new module. That particular module is dependent on your application. You want to share your packages, dependencies with the developer. How will you do it? You have your packages and everything in your own private feed. You need to give access to the private feed. That's it. Now, if you see this, NuGet restore command was done. If I come down, do you see from where it is getting restored? Let's open this in logs. Do you see from where? Even this is there. This is because if you remember the duplicate thing, it is also going. Do you want data from the upstream? So that's why this is also coming in picture. But the main actual restoration is happening from this particular location. This is what? This location is what? This is your own private feed from where the restoration is happening. Okay. Now, if you see, the build was successful. There is no issue with the build. The build went successful. Even though we are using our own private feed to build this particular project now. Okay. So this is one way you can tightly integrate Azure artifacts with build pipeline. That is the reason we needed to give the contributor access for your build. Okay. Now this is one way of consuming. The other way, as I said, if you want to share this package with some other developer, like suppose I'm creating a new project. I'm a third-party developer. I'm creating a new project. ASP.NET. I'm creating a new project. Okay. Now I have a requirement in this project that I want to this particular project is dependent on this particular application. I need to have that dependency added to my project. I have a dependency on this Valaxy DevSecOps app, and this dependency needs to be added to my project feed. How do I add this? Firstly, you need to give access to that person. That person needs to be having at least a contributor access to your project. This project, the person needs to have contributor access. How do you give access and all? That is something I'll talk about later. But for now, just keep that in mind. That person needs to have contributor access. And then if you can click on this connect to feed, how that person is connecting? It's connecting using Visual Studio. Click on Visual Studio. These are the steps which you need to follow. Again, repeating the scenario. If you want to share your own artifact with someone else, this is how you will be sharing it. Okay. Okay. Now at the top, there is an option of, let me drag this down. Let me share it again. I think the sharing got stopped. Okay, at the top there is an option of, I'm not able to drag this thing. Wait. Okay, at the top there's an option of extension. Okay, and when you come down to extension, there's an option of NuGet Package Manager. In the NuGet Package Manager, you can go and see there's an option of NuGet Manage NuGet Package for Solution. The second option. When you click on that, at the top there's an option of gear icon. Click on that gear icon source. Okay, as if now this is the source, NuGet.org. Now NuGet.org has all your third-party packages. Whatever packages you need, this person has everything. Okay. But what is my requirement? I want to go and access my own private feed. For doing that, go to this gear icon, click on this plus button, come to this section again, copy this part, name, and source. Okay, go and select your own source. This will only work if you have given that person the contributor access and that person is logged into Visual Studio tool with that credentials. If not, then it will not work. Okay. Now what package you're looking for? What is the name of your package? I'm looking for Valaxy DevSecOps app. Let's go and browse it. Searching for this package. Let's see if the package is visible or not. Perfect. Do you see this package is visible now over here? If I want to install this package in my project, I can just select this, click on install, and this will get installed on my project. This is one way. Other way is I can also use this command line, manager console, and this is the command which I can go and run. This is basically a PowerShell, guys, where you can go and run your PowerShell commands for managing packages. If you see this, I just ran that thing and successfully installed. Now, how do we verify if it is installed? Go to your application, go to dependencies, go to packages. Do you see the packages reflecting over here? Valaxy DevSecOps. The DLLs are reflecting over here. This is how you will be sharing packages from your own private feed to other developers project. Two ways we saw how we can share packages. One way within the build pipeline. Second way, I've shared this package with a third party project. Make sense? The same thing will be applicable for all the other applications. Only things will be, the way will be different. I'm not saving this project, canceling this project. Okay. Are we good? Anyone, any questions, any doubt? Anyone, guy? Any questions?
Hi. So that the way you just showed us how to add it to Visual Studio, can you do the same thing with is it VS Code?
VS Code has a different way of managing and you get packages. Okay. So like when you work with .NET, mostly 90% of time you'll be using Visual Studio only if you're working with .NET application, because .NET application has a very good support for NuGet. Okay, you can easily go and integrate many packages, external packages with Visual Studio. Okay, so like how you, if you're working with Java, how you will be like if you're working with Python, how you will be using PyCharm, that is the right IDE tool. Okay, now same way if you're working with ASP.NET or release, you'll be using the developers will be using Visual Studio only. Visual VS Code is basically for smaller things. Like, I'm not denying that you cannot build a .NET application with Visual Studio. You can build any application even using Notepad, guys. Okay, so that is upon the developer how he does the development. Okay, but yeah, just to answer your question, mostly they will be using Visual Studio for building .NET applications.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. So this was all about artifacts. Now there are many small. There's one project left, database automation, which we'll do tomorrow. But there are small topics which is left inside this pipeline section. So let's go and go through those topics today. Okay. Then tomorrow there are database automation and Azure Key Vault. These are the two topics which we'll do tomorrow. So topics such as deployment groups, task group, library, environments. What exactly these are? This is something we need to go and understand. Now these are very small, but these are very important topics if you ask me, because this may help you automate many stuff. Now let's start with task group. Okay, task group. What exactly this task group is? Now, task group is basically, if you want to, like, just think of a scenario that you got a classic. This task group is only for applicable for classic build pipelines. Keep that in mind. Think of a scenario that in your classic build pipeline, there are n number of tasks, for example, 1, 2, and these 3 tasks you are running very frequently in multiple pipelines. You are running tasks very frequently in multiple pipelines. Okay, like suppose these 3 tasks are getting repeated in 100 pipelines. Just imagine this 3 tasks is getting repeated in 100 of the pipelines. Now, one way of achieving this, you just go and add this 3 tasks again and again on those 100 pipelines. That is definitely time consuming. And with that, what will happen if there's any change, even there is a slightest change in any of these tasks, what you will end up doing? You go to those 100 pipelines and do that change, correct? That is something what you will try to do, correct? Now this task group will help you achieve standardizing and automating such similar tasks. What will I'm repeating myself, this task group will help you standardizing and automating such similar tasks from one centralized location. Understood the scenario, guys? When to use a task group? If you have similar task which is getting repeated in multiple pipelines, nor whether it's build or release, doesn't matter. At that time, you'll be using task group. Task group works only for classic. Again, repeating myself, it works only with classic. Keep in mind, okay? How do we create? So we have identified these are the 3 tasks which is getting repeated. So I've highlighted all. Right click. Do you see there's an option of create task group over here? Create it. One or more selected tasks as linked. Okay, so I have to break the link first. Go back over here. This is the link. Unlink it. Okay, done. Click again. Right click. Create task group. Name it as ASP.NET build. Okay, this is the build service which we are running. The category selected build. The solution, whatever variables you have, those are selected. Correct. Now, do you see a task group got created over here? ASP.NET build service. Save this. All those 3 tasks got clubbed together as a single task group. Now, if you come back to your task group, that task will be visible over here. Now, this is the centralized location, guys, from where you can manage the task. See, you can see the task over here. You can manage the task completely from here. Now, how do you consume this task in other pipeline? Let me show you. Let's create this new pipeline. Let's use this classic editor. Select your repository. Let's have empty job for now. Nothing I'm adding. Now I want to add those 3 tasks. So let's click on this plus sign and look for ASP.NET. That is the name we have given, correct? Do you see this? Created by Mela DevOps. Added. That's it. You're done. Your pipeline is created. And if you want to make any changes, you simply go to the task group section. Like suppose there is a variable you want to add. You can come and you can make the changes over here. The solution file is given, the installer is given, your histories and everything is given over here. References are given over here. Build pipeline references. You can have everything changed, added, whatever you want to do, you can come and add it over here. This is what task group does. What does task group helps you? If you have some similar task which is getting repeated in multiple classic pipelines, you can create a task group for that, and you can have a centralized location to manage this task. Okay, this comes very handy, guys. Literally all of my project, I definitely, wherever I use classic, this task group I definitely use. This comes very handy automating many stuff. The only thing is you need to identify which all similar tasks you can automate. Okay, are we good? Anyone? Any questions? And I think there's something in the chat.
I have a quick question.
Yep, tell me.
Can you still use a task group for different pipelines that have different variables?
Yes, why not?
Doesn't the variables, won't you have to change the variable? So you would have to, I'm guessing you would have to go into the task group and change the variables for another pipeline.
Correct. So in
And
that case, you need to play around with this variable at the variable section at the pipeline level. So
Mhm.
handling variable is a different use case. Very good question. Handling variable will be a different use case. That is something I'll show you. But yeah, but just to answer your question, if there are different set of variables for your task group, okay, so yeah, even that is possible. But that is something at the task group level, you will not handle the variables. You will be handling those things at the pipeline level. Okay,
Got it.
but yeah, but if you have common variables, for example, I haven't covered that topic yet, but if you have a common variables which is getting used at multiple side, then even that can be managed. Okay, don't worry, I'll show you that. Even that is part of it, because when we use the key vault, that key vault password will be getting used at multiple location, correct? How will you define that? So that is something we'll see it.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. uh that was about task group, and there's a question by Victoria. What is the difference between upstream and downstream in Artifact? Upstream is nothing but the private feed where you are pushing your package, Victoria. Okay, so you have, so remember the first pipeline wherein we had packaged and then we got push. So basically you are pushing this to your upstream location, to your own private location, your package which you're pushing. Downstream is basically you're downloading the packages. So this is just concept. There's nothing to do. Downloading and uploading, that is what upstream and downstream comes in picture. Okay. Okay. Where were we? Okay. Now that was about task flow. Leave this. Now we had something called deployment groups over here. Deployment groups, for explaining deployment group, let me go back to Notepad. Okay. Deployment groups. Now, when you deploy your changes, you deploy to dev environment, then you deploy to QA environment and things like that, correct? Now, do you think in reality we'll have only one dev environment? No, correct? We'll have group of dev servers, dev 1, dev 2, so and so forth, correct? We'll have group of dev servers. Similarly, we'll have group of QA servers, QA1, QA2, and things like that, correct? Now, with the current setup, only one dev was getting deployed with the current deployment setup which we had. Okay. Now, if I want to group all these 4 servers, for example, and I want to deploy on all these 4 servers at once. So I'll be grouping this all 4 servers and I'll be naming this as dev. So this is a group will be created. For QA, I'll have a QA group created. Now when I'm targeting my deployment, I'll be targeting to this group basically. And all my deployment will happen on all these 4 servers at once. That is what deployment group is. Deployment group is nothing but it's a logical group of target machine for parallel deployment. Okay, so if you want to add a deployment, like for example, I'm adding a dev. This is a dev group which I'm creating. All the servers, so like whatever target machines you want to add, as if now there's no target inside this. All those 4 servers, just imagine those are all windows. So you need to go to all those 4 servers, need to add this, run this command. Or if it's Linux, so only Windows and Linux is supported right now, and only VMs are supported right now for this deployment groups. Okay, if it is Linux, this is the command which you need to go and execute. What will happen? This is like remember when we were setting agent pool, there was an agent which we were executing on the server. It's the same thing you're doing. So once you run this command, it will ask for pat authentication token. Once this is set up, this group will be created. Now, how do you target the deployment? You can go to your releases. I'm not added the target machine, but I'm showing how do you target the deployment. For example, let's come back to this. Now, as if now, let me delete all this, guys. As if now we were doing the deployment on agent pool. Now with deployment group, there's no need of agent pool also, because all your target machine will work as agent pool. Okay. So do you see there's an option of add deployment group? You can come and add deployment group and you will be targeting to your group directly. Now, whatever deployment you want to do, like for example, you want to have SQL database deployment, you can have directly target. This is how you will be doing. Now there's no agent over here. This deployment group is, sorry guys, this deployment group is acting as an agent also for you. So these are all your target machines. And one important thing, this deployment group concept only works for classic. Again, repeating myself, deployment group concept works only with classic pipelines, whether it's a build or release. Understood? Deployment group is nothing but it's a logical grouping of VMs. Okay, when you want to target parallel deployment. Again, a small topic, looks very small, but this is a very important topic, guys. Okay, which will help you, like when you work on like when you have your VMs mostly on your own self data center, at that time this deployment group comes very handy for parallel deployment. Okay, are we good? Anyone, any questions with this deployment group? What exactly this deployment group is? Nothing but logical grouping of your VMs.
So
Okay.
just so for the deployment groups, is that like something you should use for patching a VM?
Patching you can use for whatever purpose you want to use. It's not like for patching. If you want to have patching automated, you can use deployment group. If you want to do parallel deployment, like suppose your dev has 4 servers, and when you're doing a dev deployment, you want to deploy it on all the 4 servers at once, then this concept comes in picture.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Same goes with production. There are four production. So in reality, guys, there's never one single server for each environment. There will be in multiples, either 2, 4, 6. This way the servers would be. You will never find only one single server for production, only one single server for your stage and things like that. You will always have multiple servers, load balanced. Okay, so That is the reality concept I'm talking about. So at that time you will be using this deployment group concept. Okay. And this is only again repeating myself, only applicable for classic build and release, and it is only available for VMs, not for microservice and things like that. Okay, not for YAML also. Now many of you will say, why only for classic? Why not for YAML? Correct, you should have for YAML also. We should have this feature in YAML also. For that we got something called as environments over here. Environment is nothing but is a collection of resources that can be targeted by deployment. Environment is nothing but collection of resources, again I'm repeating, collection of resources that can be targeted by deployment from a pipeline. Environment can include Kubernetes clusters. So when I say collection of resources, Kubernetes cluster is my resources, Azure web apps, virtual machine, databases. Typical example of environment are dev, test, QA, staging, and production. Same like in deployment groups. Now this dev, from where this came in picture, this dev came in picture when we were deploying a pipeline, YAML based pipeline. This one, where it is Java one, correct? No, we did it with YAML over here. Okay. This one. Do you see this environment which you have created while deployment? Remember when you were doing the deployment, at that time we have mentioned something in the deployment environment. Come down. Do you see this thing, line number 74? All thanks to this line, this environment was automatically created. Now this environment does not have any resource basically as of now, but if you want to add some resources, these are the two types of resources which is accepted. Kubernetes namespace you can add, virtual machines. So this is basically for microservice, and this environment is only applicable for YAML pipelines. Okay, now this environment is exactly the same like deployment groups, guys. The only difference is this is logical grouping of resources, wherein your Kubernetes resources, AKS resources also comes in picture. Okay, now if I have any namespace, as if now I have nothing right now, but if I have any Azure Kubernetes service running on my cloud, even that can be added. There's no cloud service running, so forget about this for now. Okay, it's the same concept, grouping of resources and deploying at once. Logical grouping of resources is the same concept. And there are added advantage of using environment. You can have deployment history. Unlike this, if you see, I am getting the deployment history. You can do a traceability of commits with work item. You can also diagnose your resource health. Like if there are multiple resources added over here, Kubernetes, like suppose you have added Kubernetes clusters over here. You can even diagnose the resource health if the resource is healthy or not. You can also set up permissions, who can deploy, who cannot deploy at the YAML level. So remember over here in the release pipeline, we had all the permission things. In YAML, we didn't have the permission things. So that can be set when you set up the environment. You can also secure environment by specifying the user who can approve the deployment. So environment is also the same concept, logical grouping of resources, but this is for YAML pipelines. And this also supports Kubernetes and virtual machines for now. Only Kubernetes and virtual machine is supported. In future, they may add Azure web app, Azure functions, and other things. Three things I talked about: environments, logical grouping of resources, collection of resources it has. This is applicable for YAML. Deployment group, again, collection of resources Task group, collection of tasks. Are we? Are we good? Are we all on the same page? What are these three things?
I have a question.
Perfect. Tell me.
Have a question. I just wanted to clarify deployment groups. I think you mentioned earlier that it's for build and release, and I wanted to clarify the statements. Is it for build and release, or it only applies to release pipelines? Because I know we use agent pools for building, and I wasn't sure if we also use deployment groups for build as well.
Okay, this is again mostly, as you said, mostly this is used for deployment purpose, wherein you're targeting the deployment. Okay, so you got some change and you want to deploy that change to all the servers at once. At that time, mostly 90% of time, that is the scenario where it is used, but there's no restrictions. If there's any scenario wherein you want to have your deployment group used for build service, you can even do that. There's no stopping. Azure is not stopping you for that. Like for example, let's have a new pipeline. This agent thing is there over here. Let's remove this. Add a agent job, and this is agentless job. So this is agent job will add the things again. So no, sorry, my apology. Build for build purpose it will not be used. Only for release purpose it will be used. You are not getting the option itself over here. Deployment group will be only for your. Let me have a new pipeline created. Empty job. Let's remove this agent job. So you have this option over here only. Add deployment group jobs over here. Thing. So this deployment group job can be only targeted for your deployment purpose, not for your build purpose. That's a wrong statement. Okay, grouping of. So basically this is grouping of deployment, parallel deployment. Like if I delete this, define logical grouping on target machines for parallel deployment. This is for parallel deployment if you want to do a parallel deployment. Okay, hope that helps.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That helps.
No problem. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other questions, guys? No question. There's one more section over here. Library. Now, someone has asked me previously about variables. Now, this library part is very useful. Now, this is used if you have common variables across multiple pipelines. Again, repeating, if you have common variables, if your multiple pipelines is sharing common variables, then this will be used. Now, when I say common variable, like for example, in releases, if you see, you have defined so many variables. Now, just think of this service plan or this resource group or something other is very common across 100 pipelines. Now, what you need to do, the traditional way, what we are doing till now, we'll go to each pipeline, go to pipeline variable section and add those variables. Correct? Now, if there's any change, we need to go to those 100 pipelines, go and edit those pipelines variables. Correct? This is what we are following till now. But this is very time consuming, guys. You need, if you want to have a centralized location, I'm again repeating common variables, guys. If you have any common variable, if you want to share across multiple pipelines, so the best place to add those variables is library. In this, you can go to create a variable group. Let's name it as common var. There is an option to link your Azure keyword. This is something we'll see tomorrow. For now, let's add the variable. For example, let's add cost center. Just imagine this cost center variable is unique across all the development pipelines. Let's have environment develop. This is also unique. And same way you will have multiple other things, whatever you can think of, which is common. Saved it. Now I want to use this variable inside my pipelines, like for Java release. I can go and edit this pipeline, go to variable. Do you see this option of variable group? Link. Do you see this common variable? Link. Linked. If I want to use this variable inside my task, I can definitely go and refer those as, like suppose I'm using cost center. I'm just giving an example to you, don't get confused. I can simply have the cost center added over here. This way I can also use it. Okay, don't get confused. I'm just showing an example. In place of cost center, just think of as a resource group, which is common. So you'll come up with scenario where the resource group is common across multiple pipelines. Same way, if you want to link it with this pipeline, go to variable, variable group, link. This way you can link, and this can be also linked with build also, guys. This is not just for deployment. If you want to link it with your build pipelines, for example, this build, variable groups, link. Yeah. So I was confused with the deployment group and variable group over here. This is how you can link, even with your build pipelines. Okay. So one thing you will be definitely using this library section is to integrate your key vault. Now, if you have seen this, there is an option of linking Azure Key Vault. Now, think of a scenario wherein you're doing a database automation. You have created a, so for database automation, you will need to require the SQL user and SQL password, correct? You will require that for sure. That password needs to be integrated with your pipelines so that you can deploy and manage your SQL automation, correct? Now imagine that password is getting used by 10 databases. Will you go and pass that password as a plain text into each pipeline? The answer is no. Will you go and add Azure Key Vault task into each pipeline? You can do it. If you want, like just imagine this is your Azure database. This is something I'll do it tomorrow. I'm just giving you reference. Now what will happen? You will have your Key Vault task added. Your Key Vault task. This is a Key Vault task which you will go and add. Okay, one way of doing. So if this key vault is getting used at 10 different locations, what you will do, you'll go and add this to 10 different locations. Or come to this library section, manage it as a variable and link your key vault directly over here. And manage things directly from one single location. So even library, and use this vault as a library, as a variable inside your pipeline. This you will understand more when we'll actually do this tomorrow. Then you'll understand this more. Okay, this is something we'll do in practical. We'll go and create a key vault. So tomorrow we'll do database automation. Basically for that I'll be creating SQL Server, SQL databases, and I'll be having a key vault in which I'll be keeping my passwords. Okay, and then I'll be integrating this library with my pipelines, and I'll show you how the deployment happens. Okay, that is a project which we'll do. So for now, just keep an idea that if you want to link your key vault with your pipeline, so this is the best option library. Okay, so 4 important things today: environments, deployment groups, task group, and now this library is basically used for if you have common variable which is getting shared across multiple pipeline, then best to have it described over here, so that tomorrow if there's any change happening, you can come to this section and change it, which will be applicable to all the pipelines. Okay, are we good? Anyone, any questions, any doubt?
I got a quick question.
Yep.
Can you share libraries and environments with other projects? So in other words, can you have multiple projects in the same organization sharing environments and libraries?
Very good question, guys. So the question is, we got, this is my organization, Mila DevOps, and I got multiple projects. For example, I got couple of projects over here. So can we share the libraries? So let's go and see it by ourselves. So we have this library over here. Now, if you see this pipeline permissions, see this, I'm sharing it with a specific pipeline over here. Now, can we share it with other projects? That was the question. Security. I believe yes. What is the name of the other project? DevSecOps. Do you see this? DevSecOps 1. This is my other project. I'm giving administrative rights to that particular project. Can we use and manage the library items? DevSecOps team. Which team it is? This is team from my other project. It's not saved. So come to this section. It's not saved. Let's go back and save it again. DevSecOps -1. This team. David. Is it added? Assigned. See, X is assigned. Now, hopefully, it should be. We have given access to this team. Let's go to in the pipeline and see. It's not visible. It should be visible. So answering to your question, it is possible. You can share libraries, you can share agent pools. Agent pools also can be shared with other projects. Okay. Even for libraries and all can be shared. There is a way out to share. Why this is not visible? See, I'm sharing this with, so this will be, I think if I log out and log in, I should be able to see this in my project. See, I'm sharing it this with this particular team right now. This team belongs to other library. Assign security role for library. So even this team can access. This particular team, DevSecOps teams, can also access the library, but sharing with this other project. Let me think of it. Not sure. I'll have to check this, guy. I'll confirm this if we can share this with other projects or not. Definitely, I can share this libraries with other teams, other project teams, but they have to come inside this project to access this variables. But can we share this with other project? Good question. I'll have to see the documentation of Azure and I'll get back to you on this by tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Agent pool and all, definitely you can share. Like suppose if you have your own agent pool, self-hosted agent pool, we don't have it right now. But if you want to share this with others, other project, you can definitely go and add the permission. Agent pools and all, definitely you can share. But library and task group, let me see if we have options in task group. Mela DevOps. No worries. I'll check the documentation. I'll get back to you on this. Agent pools and many work items can be shared with other projects. Variables, task group, and deployment group. I'll check and confirm. No worries. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Any other question? Very good question. I want such questions so that I can go and do some hard work. Okay. Yeah, anyone else? No other questions, guys? So tomorrow, the project, database automation project, is the last project for Azure DevOps that is pending. Post that, we have small topics like permissions, service hooks, integration, and these things, small topics is left. After that, we'll start with Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker, which is third-party tools which we will start with. Okay, make sure to practice whatever projects we have done till now. And if you have any questions, any doubt, please do let me know in the WhatsApp group. Don't wait for the session. Ping in the WhatsApp group. Anyone can help you out. Okay.
I got a quick question. Sorry.
Yeah. Tell me.
Um, so I had to create another account for Azure DevOps because the one I was using before I'd already exhausted the free credits.
Okay.
But seems like it's taking. I feel like it's taking a while for them to approve my that parallelism hosting. So two questions. First question is how many days does it take to get approved for that? One. Two. Um, I configured a self-hosted agent just to get by. But now I'm running into issues with Marvin. Like it wants me to install some things regarding Marvin on the self-hosted agent. Do you have any resource that you can post on the group chat? If for some of us that are using self-hosted, especially to do Marvin builds.
Okay. Answer to your first question, it takes couple of days, mostly 2 and 3 working days in which they approve it. If not approving, there definitely there's some issues with your form which you have filled in. But yeah, couple of days, that is the max what they take. Working days, guys. Okay. Second, which agent pool, is it Linux based or Windows based?
Windows.
Yeah, that is the issue. If you're building Maven, okay, you should have Linux based OS for your self-hosted. Even though if you're using Windows, then you need to go and install Maven by yourself on that particular Windows machine. You'll have to go and install Maven, or better, if you're building Maven, if you've created self-hosted agent just for building Java applications, then better have a Linux based self-hosted agent. If not, then you may have to set up Maven from scratch by yourself on that Windows machine, set the path so that whenever your agent is running, it can go and have the Maven build executed for you. So that
Okay.
is the setup. You need to do it by yourself.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thank you.
No problem.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah.
After this whole class, how long can we have access to this and all the resources that you're posting there?
It is there for 1 year. All your resources, recordings, it is there for 1 year.
For just 1 year?
I think, yeah, that is 1 year, I know. But for more information, it's better if you speak to Valaxy admin team.
Okay.
1 year, I definitely know that it is there available for 1 year after this class. And if you want more, then definitely check with Valaxy admin team. They can give you a better answer on this.
Okay, I'll check with them.
Yeah, sure. Anyone else, guys? No problem.
Hello.
Yeah.
If the same batch is started again, so can we repeat this session again?
Yes, you can
Okay.
have couple of batches. You can go and repeat the session again. Yes, definitely yes.
And a follow-up to that question, can we have opportunity to repeat the class
Yes.
without paying?
Yes. The next
Without
batch,
paying?
whatever. Yeah. I'm saying the
Mm.
next batch, whatever batch comes in, and if you want to repeat, yes, without paying, you can definitely repeat the next batch. The next batch, okay, not the future. If 5 different batch comes in, no. The answer is no. But the immediate next batch, if you want to repeat, you can definitely do it without paying. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Anyone else, guys? So there are a couple of takeaways. Tomorrow we'll have database automation done with Key Vault integration, and post that we'll start with other topics which is pending. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow and let's continue with this topic. Bye bye.